Does the bond market look out for when it comes to the budget speech?
Well, I think there's a couple of things, and I think that the scaffolding, if, as it were, is quite constructive and quite bullish for in terms of what's on the cards for today. But remember, the backdrop specifically for the bond market rests on four very credible pillars. The one is that you had a very credible medium-term budget policy statement last year. You had the formal adoption and ratification of a new inflation target and new equilibrium inflation. That's another positive. Then you had the idea that there was a reduction in the amount of the size of the nominal bond auction, so a reduction in issuance. And then you also have this prospect of revenues, which is basically going to surprise to the upside, right? So you have all of these things in a confluence, and basically the transmission mechanism of the adoption of the inflation target, lower equilibrium inflation, a lower yield curve, and just the interplay between a lower cost of capital and how that feeds through to gross fixed capital formation is something that the bond market is really looking forward to. So if we see something that gets penciled into the projections, which take into account this greater prospect for greater aggregate demand on the back of a lower cost of capital, I think that will be even more positive for the bond market. And if we see some clever use of the funding mix, I think this is also something additional to look forward to for the bond market.
What else should we be hearing when it comes to investor sentiment and boosting confidence in South Africa's economic trajectory?
I think the key thing, and we have seen some evidence of this in the MTBPS already, is expenditure discipline, right? So it's almost been already factored into expectations that you will have some revenue outperformance, but it's almost the other side of the income statement, as it were. On the expenditure side, there's no extraneous expenditures, there's no expenditures that lie outside of what was already factored into expectations, and basically just holding the line.